Hey everyone, so this is my ranking list of Game of Thrones season 1 to 8. So, for those of you who don't know, the way I rank things, I go from worst to best. So, I'm going to be ranking Game of Thrones with number 8 being obviously the one I least liked to number 1, which I liked the most. Now, I've done Game of Thrones reviews, let's see, 4 years ago, I'd say I reviewed like all of them up until season 7, 8, and I did review season 7 and 8 recently. Those reviews, they are not fully in depth at all. They are not spoiler. But this is going to have some spoilers. I decided that, it's kind of important to, with my ranking, to actually explain in depth why I have them where they have. And again, spoiler alert. So let's get into it. So number 8, obviously this is the one I like the least. This is season 8. Season 8 I liked the least. I still liked it. I don't hate it the way a lot of people do, and I know a lot of people really hate it, but I enjoyed it. There were some really good moments. I liked the episode The Bells. I liked a lot how the series ended the same way that it began. I also really liked Daenerys' transformation, the overall arc, as well as Jaime's. I really, really dug episode 3, between the White Walkers and, mankind. I thought that was really cool. Not satisfying at first, but in retrospect, I liked it. Is this flawed? Yes, it's a flawed season for sure. I know that I might come across as though it's the best season, but it's not. It's the one I like the least, but at the same time, I still like it. So that's why season 8 is in this place. Also, Bron the Broken. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was a joke at first because I did see the leaks, but I've kind of grown accustomed to it. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Kind of interesting. And number 7 is season 7. Season 7 was where I started saying, you know what? This whole traveling from continent to continent in the span of like less than an episode, this is where it started. And I recognized it too. When season 7 aired, I was like, okay, they are treating everything as if it's Amazon Prime packaging, and it's crazy. And I think that's why season 8, and I said it in my season 8 review, I think that's why I was able to accept season 8 so much because, yeah, season 8 had a lot of Amazon Prime esque shipping with characters and everything. But I was used to it because season 7 was the same thing. And season 7, I think, really kind of made me more heartbroken because of the fact that I wasn't used to it with Game of Thrones. You had 6 seasons of excellence. But nonetheless, season 7 is still really good. And I think the reason why it's ranked a little bit higher is because of the Loot Train battle. Jon Snow's big reveal of not only being a Targaryen, but being the one true king of the throne. And also, him and Daenerys get it on, and she's actually his aunt. So that was interesting. Also, I really did like I liked how they really did focus on Euron a bit more because I felt like season 6 he didn't have as much to do. So I liked how they made him like the bad guy because I mean, what are you gonna do after Ramsay? So it's like I liked it. I know a lot of people that don't like Euron that much. Yeah, he's kind of cartoonish, but sometimes a little bit of cartoonish isn't the worst, right? But all right, number 6. Let's get to this. Number 6 is season 2. I don't hate season 2. I actually really, really, really like it. I think the Battle of Blackwater is incredible. I think it's one of the best episodes. I really also liked the development of characters such as Tyrion, Joffrey, Sansa. I liked how, Robb Stark, almost forgot about him, how he had some focus in this season. He started like growing in power. I really liked those whole power dynamics. This is probably the season that most people will consider the slowest. I don't think that's a problem, but I do think in terms of rewatchability, this second season is great, and I have rewatched it multiple times. But I think in multiple rewatching, it's one of the ones I like the least, but it's still one I love because it's Game of Thrones. Number 5, this is the one that started it all. Season 1 of Game of Thrones. That's right, the one with Ned Stark's death, introducing all these characters, Robert Baratheon, Joffrey Baratheon, Robb Stark, Jon Snow, Catelyn Stark. It's just an introduction to all these characters, this world, and just how it is. And with Ned Stark's death, you really did kind of realize that nobody is safe, and you also have all these famous lines from Varys and Littlefinger, who, just throwing it out there, they were my 2 favorite characters. Varys' death, I was fine with in season 8. Littlefinger's death in season 7, no. I was not fine with that. But I liked Littlefinger. I thought he was a very philosophical character, and I liked Varys and Littlefinger and their philosophical discussions. And it all started with season 1, and it was really, really interesting. Think about how chaos is a ladder, though I think that was season 2. But season 1, you either win or you die when you play the Game of Thrones. I love that line with Cersei, and that was another introduction I love. Cersei Lannister is one of my favorite characters, and her introduction in season 1 was brilliant. Season 1, it's, for me personally, a flawless season. I know that there were some reshoots with the first episode, but I still think it's a great introduction to this world of despair, nihilism, and just overall a feeling of you just want to get a blanket and like hide yourself, because it's a tough world in Game of Thrones in Westeros, and it's very interesting to watch. So that's, again, my number 5. Number 4 is season 6. Man, oh man, oh man. Firstly, let me just say this. Ramsay Bolton, or Ramsay Snow originally, he's one of my favorite villains of all time, both in movie and TV show form. I mean, my goodness, he's very villainous, but he also has depth to it. Like the whole argument of Joffrey versus Ramsay, I think that Ramsay is clearly better. He's very smart. He doesn't just do things, he does it with a plan in mind. And I think in season 6, episode 9, that was a very satisfying episode. It was the first time the good guys won, and it's also one of the best achievements in cinema history with that battle that was on display. But not only that, it has my personal, as of right now, I just want to throw it out there, my favorite episode of the season. Well, of the show, I should say. And that was season 6, episode 10, Winds of Winter. Winds of Winter, I think, is a flawless episode. I think it has some of the best editing of the series. Not only that, but I think it also has the biggest plot twists and reveals. And I think it does a lot with pushing the series forward. And it's that in-between of Game of Thrones of old and Game of Thrones of new, season 7 and 8. But I think it's a great balance of the two, and I think it works a lot. I think that there's really no flaws in season 6 for me personally. I know some people say the middle of that season is a bit flabby, but I personally found it interesting, especially in retrospect with all the stuff that was going on with Arya. I think it was satisfying, and you have Jon Snow coming back, so I found it to be very satisfying. Number 3 is, man, this one is heartbreaking. Season 3 is my number 3 choice. But season 3, man, you have the Red Wedding, you have the introduction of Ramsay, you have Theon getting tortured, you have the downfall of Catelyn and Robb Stark, you have the Boltons, pushing forward, the Lannisters winning, you have Brianna and Jaime having all these moments. There's just so much character development in season 3. Jon Snow doing his thing at the wall with Ygritte. It's just a lot of things. And it's the type of thing where you can't just watch this season and understand everything. That's Game of Thrones in general. But this season especially, because there is just so much. There's the whole ripple effect of season 1 and then all those events affecting season 2 and then all of those events pushing forward the momentum of season 3 leading to that episode of the Red Wedding. And it's crazy, man. It's really good, though. And Daenerys does her things, and it's interesting. It's very interesting, especially now going back. You'll look at those events that Daenerys did a little bit differently. I think, at least. Number 2. Now this is going to be a controversial pick because I know a lot of people that say this is when Game of Thrones went downhill. Me personally, this is obviously one of my favorite seasons of Game of Thrones, and that's season 5. My goodness, season 5. It has me heartbroken because every single season of Game of Thrones, every single season, ends on a bittersweet moment. There are things that happen where it's like very negative, but then there's also very positive moments. Season 5, season 3, I'll say, for instance, season 3, you had the Red Wedding happen. But then in the next episode, you had Daenerys get, appreciated and respected by all the people that she, freed from slavery. So you have a bittersweet moment in the Red Wedding, but then you have a very positive moment, an uplifting moment. Season 5, you don't have that. You have every single character go through despair. You have Arya being blind. You have Cersei, the Walk of Shame. I know a lot of people don't like her, but she's personally one of my favorite characters. You have her going through the Walk of Shame. You have Jon Snow's death. You have Sansa barely making it out. Actually, you don't even realize if she made it out or not because she jumped over the wall. You have Stannis Baratheon lose and actually also burn his daughter. There is no positives in that finale. There is no positives, only negativity. It's nihilism 101. And it really does get to me. It's that season where I'm like, this is masterful. It's incredible. But at the same time, it's just so, so hard to watch. And that's why it makes season 6 all the more rewarding, because you have those episodes towards the end of season 6 that really kind of quench that thirst of, needing a couple uplifting moments. But season 5 for me, I know some people have problems with Sandskins. I personally thought that they were fine. But season 5 for me, it's just everything I want in a show/movie. It's very, very serious. It's very groundbreaking in terms of plot twists and everything. Because this was also the first season that didn't really follow the books. You have characters that make decisions where it's like, oh, wow. And then in seasons after, it's like, oh, wow. So the ripple effect. So it's really that season that it's kind of transitioning, but at the same time, it's still following the lore of the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. And it's brilliant. I think it's easily one of the best seasons of Game of Thrones. But my number one, and again, season 4 and 5 were kind of beating it out, but in terms of moments, because, season 5 obviously had Hardhome, Jon Snow's death, Mother's Mercy, Dance of the Dragons. You have all those great episodes, and I know that most of them appear towards the end, but I still like the beginning of season 5 too, with Arya's training and everything, especially in retrospect, knowing that training was for her killing Night King. But season 4 was, my goodness, it was something else entirely. You have the introduction of Oberyn and the demise of Oberyn. The Mountain Viper episode is still one of the hardest for me to watch because I love that episode. I think it's brilliant, but at the same time, it's so hard to watch knowing that a character that you like is dying. It's very hard to watch. It's kind of like Ygritte's death in this season. It's very hard to watch. You have so much development with the Starks, the Lannisters, the Tyrells. There's just so much that's going on between all these houses. Joffrey's death, Tyrion being put on trial, Tywin's death. There's just so much to pick apart and to analyze, and I love it. I think that, yes, season 4 ends on a slight uplifting moment with Arya, going to Braavos. But I think overall, this is a show that for Game of Thrones fans, we know going into the show after season 1, we know that there is little to no hope with all these characters, that they are, possibly going to die or at least go through some depravity that really affects them emotionally and physically. Season 4, I think, is fully what does it. I think season 5 is really, really close, but I think season 4 is really what fully combines every single emotion that Game of Thrones fans feel with the show in one package. And I think overall, it's a flawless season. I mean, season 4, 5, 3, 6, and 1, I look at as flawless. Season 2, close, very, very close. Season 7, not as close. Season 8, not as close. But I think season 4 is the very, very definitive Game of Thrones season that if someone's like, what's this all about? You tell them, look, season 1 to 3 is incredible, but wait until you see season 4. Mind blown. I'm telling you, that's my favorite season of Game of Thrones. But I am curious, what are your thoughts on Game of Thrones season 1 to 8? Rank them down below. Obviously, 8 being the one you least like and 1 being your favorite. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I am curious. And guys, what other shows do you think I should rank? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. And again, also, just let me know your thoughts on Season 8 of Game of Thrones as well, because I know it's still fresh in a lot of people's minds. And 4.2 on IMDb with that series finale probably has a lot of people all not so much tinkled in pink. So let me know your thoughts, though, in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll see you guys later.